Hello everyone, welcome to the Ginger Snaps, where we'll be discussing the SAW franchise for you guys in a very blunt way. I'm your host, Steven Harrold.
And this is Justin Harrold.
And in today's movie review, we are going to be giving you guys our review for SAW V.
Released in 2008, directed by David Hackle.
So basically for this movie, it's not so much focused on the specific trap that is featured in this movie where the five become one.
Yeah.
It's more of a cat and mouse with Peter Strahm and Detective Hoffman.
Yeah, exactly. It immediately starts off where SAW IV ended, and basically Hoffman shuts the door on the Strahm.
Yeah.
And then Strahm's trying to find his way out.
Yeah.
Then next thing you know, he gets trapped by Hoffman.
Yeah.
In an inescapable trap, in which case he was meant to die.
Yeah, and then it's basically assumed that Hoffman is the only survivor, and then when he finds out Peter Strahm actually survived, it's like, oh fuck. He kind of realizes his plan's kaput. All the while, we have a game going on.
Yeah.
Which it's not like SAW 2, SAW 3, SAW 4, where it has a specific theme to it, because I mean, like SAW 2, we can say it's Amanda and Jeff's son. SAW 3 is all about what the fuck. SAW 3 is about Jeff and Lynn, Denlin, and then SAW 4 is all about
I
Rick.
think you made that mistake. You said Jeff's son in SAW 2. You mean Detective Matthews?
Yeah, Detective Matthews. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. But this one is different because it's different participants.
And the thing is, the participants don't matter because it's more focused on the cat and mouse between Hoffman and Strahm.
Yeah, and some people will find it weaker when it comes to that, but it's different. It's a fresh take.
Yeah.
Especially when you have now the FBI involved.
Yeah, exactly. So, right off the bat, I will say there's a couple things I do like about this film.
Okay.
But there's also a lot of things I didn't like. My biggest gripe with this going in, and I was really excited going into this.
Yeah.
Because I thought, hey, if they're making a fifth one, I'm sure it's going to be a lot better than the fourth film.
Yeah.
You can tell by the fifth film that the traps are starting to become stale. They're running out of ideas.
Yeah, it's also because like you can, like a lot of people online can even say that even the traps and the story, not because of just fatigue, but also the traps, you can tell are kind of like the fan theory, I guess you could say, is it's all orchestrated. You can tell they're orchestrated by someone else because of the lack of the impact for the traps.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this story, it's actually a lot better knowing that there's a cat and mouse chase going on and not solely focused on a game.
Yeah.
Okay, so right off the bat, not very many interesting characters besides Hoffman and Peter Strahm and Perez.
You still get Tobin Bell with flashbacks.
Yeah, but like I said, they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the other characters that are participating in these games, especially SAW 5 having that other character who I sometimes forget was a plot, was the murder of Detective Hoffman's sister, which is like, okay, it's kind of a forgotten subplot.
I wouldn't say it's a forgotten subplot. They're just trying to give you motivation to be like, oh, okay, so we can sympathize with Hoffman.
I guess in a way.
Yeah.
But still, like when it comes to the other characters, a lot of them are not very memorable. Like, you need that oomph with Tobin Bell. And flashbacks aren't going to do it.
No.
Especially since, like, you only get a handful of flashbacks.
Oh, yeah.
So this movie kind of drags for that.
Yeah. I will say one thing, though, that we forgot to mention. What this film does better than SAW 4, the transitions.
Yes, the transitions are a lot better with this film.
Yeah.
Because this movie was not directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, so...
Who is overkill on transitions.
But I mean, like, I won't give him too much shit, because, I mean, like, he's done other fine work. I mean, he did SAW 2. Like, fine film.
Yes.
But, other than that, like, the transition shots in this film are a lot better than they were in SAW 4, because SAW 4 was just over fucking done.
Yeah, and unnecessary.
Yeah. when it comes to the traps, the movie starts with a classic, and not just a classic in the Saw genre. It's more of a classic in the horror genre because it's a medieval device, which is the pendulum. Now, this pendulum has been used in countless movies time and time again, and the fact that this film revisited it as a saw trap is fucking cool. But if anyone knows about pendulums, like pendulums are basically like something that fucks with your psyche and fucks with your emotions before it kills you. So right off the bat, even with the thing he had to do, which was crush his hands, he was fucked no matter what.
Yeah.
That pendulum was going to kill him.
Yeah.
But I do like what in the flashback that Tobin Bell says to him. He's like, play. What was it like? He's like, I like getting credit, but at the same time, I don't like getting credit for something that I didn't do, especially inferior work or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And he just, that smug son of a bitch kind of detail. He's like, by the way, the blade on your pendulum was inferior. I'm like, nah, it still did the fucking job. But let's have you start off with the next trap, which is basically a kill, like a trap that was supposed to just kill Peter Strahm.
It's almost very similar to almost like a Amanda trap, if you will. It's just a box trap where Strahm is heads in it and just water pours in.
Yeah.
There is no play me, there is no way out. It's just, you're going to drown in this box.
Yeah. And you even pointed out the fact that, like, this is how you can tell Hoffman was sloppy.
Yeah.
He took away his gun, his flashlight, his cell phone, and his wallet, but he doesn't take the pen.
Yeah. At first, I thought that was a flaw with the film, but then I'm looking at it more. I'm like, nah, Hoffman's a very sloppy killer.
Yeah, okay. So that makes sense. So when it comes to all the other traps in this movie, like the 5 must become 1. This is like the most... This trap pisses me off. Because even when we saw it in theaters...
Well, series of traps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that when we saw it in theaters, I got more annoyed for each room they went in because I realized they didn't have to kill each other.
You realized by room number 3.
Yeah, it's like there's 5 of everything.
Yeah.
What the fuck? So, like, what... Of all those series of traps, because, like, even just breaking it down, like, there's the collar trap, which, if you guys don't know, only one key could have unlocked all the collars. So what'd you think of that? Because, let's face it, that one kill was fucking horrible CGI.
It was horrible CGI.
So the head just down, and I'm like, fuck, that was bad.
See, originally, when we saw it in theaters, we liked it.
Yeah.
Rewatching it, it's not the best.
Yeah.
It's meh.
Yeah, it's a meh kind of thing. And then the next trap would be...
My least favorite in that, of the 5.
It's the jars, right?
The jars with the different keys.
Yeah.
Different shaped keys, and you had to go into the halls. Otherwise, you would just blow up in the room.
Yeah.
In terms of death creativity, it's not creative.
Yeah, it's just
you
blow
up in a room.
Because you know what it is? It's because we've seen that already before with the classroom trap.
Yes.
The first classroom trap.
Yes.
Because this one, it's just like, okay, well, they're just breaking jars.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have this asshole who's a journalist for the Herald. Not our last names, it's one R. He knows all about them, too. And
yeah.
What was it that they all had in common?
They were basically part of... It's different for every one of them, but they were all connected. So the junkie was basically a trust fund kid.
Yeah.
The one... I can't remember her name. The white girl,
yeah,
we'll say, the one that didn't die in the first room. She had to get a permit because I think she was part of
a real estate thing.
Yeah.
Of development.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's because they all like tore down an apartment with 8 people in it.
Who ended up dying,
and they were all guilty of it, but never faced any punishment.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, why is... This doesn't feel like Jigsaw.
No.
This doesn't feel like him at all. This is a random one, okay.
Well,
but
they deserved to be punished, which
yeah,
I get. But again, these are all Hoffman / Amanda. Like, you could tell that's something they would do. And you know what? Because not Hoffman. Because Amanda's dead, because Jigsaw's dead, you just got Hoffman doing it.
yeah. And then, of course, we got the other one, which is...
Your least favorite of the rooms.
The water tub. Yeah, that one's my least favorite because it's like, again, because that's where we finally realize it's like, there are 5 things, but there's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
So it should have clued in. And then, of course, there's the other thing I know probably people have said it online, where it's like, why didn't they pick up the body out of the fucking water to use in the next room for that next trap? Because they would have saved them some fucking time.
They only had 15 seconds.
Yeah,
with dead weight,
I
you're
know.
not going to be able to, especially with them. You have a junkie.
But we even saw that the time jumped.
Yeah. That was.
It was at 29 seconds.
It went from 23 seconds to 9 seconds.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, what happened to all those seconds?
Yeah.
But this does lead to the one trap I would fucking hate to be in.
It was the only one that I liked.
Yeah, the only one in that whole series of traps.
Yeah.
It's where they put their hands in saws, and of course, there's 5 boxes, 5 saws, and it's like, well, saw 5. Tongue in cheek.
LOL.
LOL. But the fact that they had to put their hands in there and basically cut their hands and fill it with 5 pints of blood each.
10. You had
Well, no, 5 each.
Yeah, 5 each for the 2.
For the 2. But
Yes.
if it was all 5 of them, would have been like 2 pints each.
Yeah.
Where they could have lived. But it's just that whole notion of you have your hand stuck in this thing and a saw is going through it. And you're going all the way up. And it's like I remember in the theater too, that scene where he lifts up his arm, it was extended to where his arm just opened to form the 5. I'm like, oh, there's another 5. But in the DVD release, they shortened it. I think it was just too grotesque.
You know what that reminded me of when that was happening?
Huh.
Do you remember Scary Movie? That scene where he's like down the middle.
Oh, you mean like down the middle? Oh.
That was the first thing I think of, and I'm like, I shouldn't be laughing at that, but that's gross.
Jesus fucking Christ. And then we have the last trap.
Which isn't... So, the coffin, I guess, the glass coffin, is what we can call it.
Yeah.
That's not actually a trap.
No. We thought it was a trap when we saw it in SAW 4. Like, what is that? And then it's like, oh.
We don't see it until this movie.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, so it's where Peter Strahm has to trust Hoffman. Which, again, even though it's kind of a trap, it's also a twist.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you were supposed to trust him.
But you know what it is? Even if he, let's say, in theory, he did trust him, and Strahm went in, it would still technically bite him in the ass. You know why? Hoffman dies. Hoffman's still setting up Strahm to be the accomplice.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And then it's like, oh, well, now Hoffman's dead, so explain all this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
When it comes to SAW 5, this movie, even though when it has the cat and mouse aspect of it, there was just way too many scenes of basically dropping exposition, dropping subplot, motive, all this stuff with traps that were kind of like, let's face it, there were only 3 good traps out of how many?
You were screwed going into this film if you had no knowledge of the prior films.
Yeah, because this film is so much more different than the other 4.
Yeah.
And it's basically like, well, I mean, there's another film that's different from the other fucking 9. But I can't wait to get there. So with this film, like, we can both basically say the 3 best traps are the water box, the pendulum, and the saws.
Yeah.
Basically, those are the only 3 because...
Actually, no, you know what? I won't say that because instead of the saw, I'm going to go with the ending.
The ending trap.
You don't expect that.
Oh, yeah, because, like, you know, like, how many times have we seen in movies where the walls close in and they
It's
they
been-
escape,
Yeah, it's been teased multiple times.
but we've never seen the full on. Because when his arm fucking breaks, it's like, oh, that's gross.
Yeah.
That gave me PTSD from my arm breaking. But other than that, like when it comes to this movie, it's like it's a fun watch, especially for the cat and mouse stuff. But
Everything else lacks.
yeah, it just lacks, especially when it comes to characters. Because
Yeah.
again, we're missing Jigsaw, we're missing John Kramer, we don't have Amanda. We're stuck with Hoffman. But you gotta remember, Saw 4 is where it was finally shown that he's the next accomplice. So now we have this film, which is supposed to make him out to be the bad guy.
Do you like Hoffman better in this one?
No,
No?
this is where he lacked for me. I was just like, I'm supposed to buy you as a villain, as an accomplice. I'm supposed to. It's the next film that he wins me over.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, he wins me over completely on that one.
I'm actually, like, I find when it comes to the killers, Hoffman is a very divisive character.
Yeah.
Some people either love him or hate him. I like him. I don't love him, but I like him.
I don't mind him. It's just like, yeah, he's okay.
I like the fact that he is sloppy. I like the fact that he makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But instead of like, oh, I made a mistake, I gotta do better, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He tries to cover up all of his loose ends.
Yeah.
Too. But when it comes to this movie, like, would you really think it's one of the ones you would recommend to someone?
Only if you're a massive Saw fan.
Yeah, if
If-
you're not a Saw fan, don't recommend
If
it.
you haven't seen Saw, and you're like, oh, can I just watch this one with you? I'm like, no. You're going to be very lost, and this is honestly a very minor Saw film.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
very
say
minor.
that as a bad thing, but I just think it's
Meh?
I wouldn't even say that.
Is it a meh film?
My rating for this is going to be confusing.
Okay, well, what's
because
your rating?
If I said meh, I would say this is 5 out of 10. I think this is a 6 out of 10 for only 2 reasons. The cat and mouse sequence is probably my favorite thing of this,
Okay.
and that ending, because that is a different ending. You don't get that ending in any other film, including the 2 films you hate and I hate, or the film you hate and the film I hate. You don't get those endings.
That's true, yeah. That's ambitious. For my rating, like I said, like, to agree with you, it's the cat and mouse thing, and then 3 of the traps at least I like, and trying to establish Hoffman and everything. But other than that, it does lack characters. It does lack too much story, because basically they're over relying a little bit now on the flashbacks.
Yeah.
So for me, when I look at Saw 5, it's funny how that is the case. I'm giving this film a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
Yeah, I do slightly enjoy it more than Saw 4.
I can understand a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, I can't look at Saw 5 and say it's higher than a 6. Like, to me, 6 is the most I'm willing to give it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay.
Simple.
So you say it's a 6 out of 10?
Yeah.
And I say it's a 5 out of 10. So that's been our review for Saw 5. So, of course, we don't mind the film, but it's not one of the ones we, per se,
Enjoy the most.
enjoy the most.
No.
So that's basically it for us, guys. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and also subscribe for more content. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can get notified about all the other Saw film related videos coming out on the channel. So next video we will be talking about is a film that basically won us back over again. And in a very good way, because it was a lot much more of an improvement over this one.
Critics agreed.
Yeah.
Because even the critics were, like, giving it more praise than they originally giving every other film.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to doing that review. So anyways, guys, that's it from us. This has been the Ginger Snaps here. My name is Steven Harrold.
And I'm Justin Harrold.
And always remember, guys, live or die, make your choice.